That really is for myself. Note to self. All right, well, thank you all for coming this morning, and you have already shown me that you are ethical and folks with good manners because you have arrived on time. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a stickler for being on time. I'm usually not 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late. I am right there on time, and I'll talk to you a little bit about some techniques, some sales techniques today about how to reinforce that with your clients when you're working with clients. So my name is DelVecchio. I am a realtor at Warren Real Estate, and I am celebrating my 22nd year in real estate.
Congrats.
And I also, Brent had said earlier that I am currently this year's New York State Association of Realtors president.
Nice.
And the New York State Association of Realtors, of which you all are members, is the sort of state sort of arm. I guess we call it a tripod. You have your local board, your state board, and your national association. So you're one of a three tripod membership when you join the Board of Realtors. So today we're going to talk a little bit about sort of ethical behavior, but also this sort of marriage of good behavior, marriage of ethics and etiquette in real estate. So next slide, please. I have a slide turner today. That's a luxury for me.
Just coming in.
That's great. So Ethiquette was actually a CE course that was created by a realtor. Her name was Patricia Bentley. She's from Westchester County. I attended this course in 2002 at the Triple Play, which is a tri-state convention, mostly of learning, and it's in Atlantic City every year in December. And it's the best bang for your buck. If you're looking for CE, you can get generally your CE done all for about $80, and it's a fun conference. So I went to her Ethiquette course because it sounded interesting to me, and I loved it. Of course, here I am, 16 years later, teaching the same course. So. And I did reach out to her, by the way. I didn't just steal her course. I called her and I said, I loved your course and I'm starting my teaching career and I'd love to do your course, obviously make it my own. And she said, absolutely, go ahead, because that's what good realtors do, is they share information. So there's this thing called Pathways to Professionalism. And when I got into the business, there was no such thing. And I do have a handout for you. I'm going to give it to you a little bit later, because I don't want you to cheat and read ahead, because that's what I would do if I had a handout. So I want a little surprise interaction here. But there's a Pathways to Professionalism I'm going to hand out, and it's basically a sort of a practical how-to guide. The Code of Ethics, which is a longer version of all of the rules that we follow, it's not really practical as far as a day-to-day experience. And you were talking before class started about a safety issue, realtor safety. This is actually September's Realtor Safety Month, as designated by National Association. So safety, realtor safety is very important. And so this is sort of a nice, handy, practical do's and don'ts, and we're going to go over some of that in this course. So this was sort of a precursor to Pathways to Professionalism, this course. So your biggest asset in real estate. So what do we think? Is it your fancy car? I need a page turner here. Look, there you go. Boom. Is it your fancy wardrobe?
No.
Is it your knowledge of the area? No.
No.
Next slide. Your biggest asset in real estate is your reputation. All right, one more. Okay. Do we know what trolls are? Are you familiar with that, with the internet? Trolls are people who like to cause controversy. They enjoy it. They comment on, mostly you see it in political postings, just taking the other side just to see what kind of response they can get, and they feed off of the negativity, they feed off of the interaction in that forum. So one of the things we're going to talk a lot about is not feeding the troll. I have included in this course today some actual scrapes of posts that I have seen in my travels, particularly this year. So here's a rant that happened. This is somebody who was in the North Country. And so it's very interesting. My rant of today, what happened to professionalism in business? Many agents no longer have landlines, and many of us do not have the luxury of being able to turn our phones off when it is bedtime. I believe proper protocol, spelled wrong, for business, spelled wrong, is nothing after 9 p.m. and before 8 a.m., Monday through Friday, with 9 a.m. being normal on the weekends. I get that off the that the business educate, I got that off the business educate for idiots. I don't know what that even means, book. I didn't know there was a business educate for idiots book. Would people, agents, and others please show professionalism in our profession? 12:30 a.m. is totally rude, rant over. What do we think about that as a post? On your social media page, this happened to be a Facebook post.
Totally unprofessional.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's ironic, right?
Right.
So what do you think her clients think about her for posting this,
I'm probably afraid to call her.
Yeah.
right? Especially not before 9 a.m. What if they just saw a house that they love on Zillow at 8:51? Are they going to call her? So, first of all, there's a couple of things going on here. Ranting like this in a public forum, just not a good idea. We're held to a higher standard. The name realtor is supposed to connote professionalism and adherence to a higher standard. So then there's this whole subtext of when are we available as realtors? And the answer to that is sort of nebulous a bit, because it depends. It depends on what you, as a business, owner of your own business, we're all independent contractors here, except for Brent, our manager, but, he has to follow a schedule that is dictated by his boss, but, our broker is not our boss. Our broker is our broker. So, I'm not necessarily a morning person. I obviously am here. It's morning. Here I am. But my brain works best really from noon till about 7 p.m. That's my window of productivity. And you each will have to get to know, if you don't already know, what your window of productivity is. And it's okay to not be a morning person, and it's okay not to be a night owl. And you have to work around people who are. You're not going to just work with night owls if you're a night owl, let me tell you. That'd be great. That'd be a pleasure. But then reality is you got to actually eat. So anyway, it's too easy to post your frustration out of the day, and guess what? Real estate's going to have a lot of them. And the general public, really, they want to know our dirty laundry. They want to know what you think of the other agent in the transaction. And the answer is always, they're great. Having fun working with them. That's the only answer you give as a realtor. Truthful representations. Now, if you have a gripe with another agent, then you need to take that gripe through the process of the Code of Ethics. There is a process for complaining about other agents, and that's in the grievance process and the mediation process that we have. That's the only place that it's appropriate. Okay, next. Oh, and just on the end of that, by the way, the public can also file a violation of the Code of Ethics against you. It's not just other realtors. So, be careful there. Because when you post on Facebook, guess what? That's in writing. That's in writing. And you think it disappears if you delete it? Yeah. Ask the feds about that. Ask the feds about that. Okay, so just a general guideline, think before you post. Keep it positive, positive, positive. That's really a good guideline. And also know where to post. So, I'm a big social media person. I love Facebook, I love Twitter, I love Instagram. And this year in particular, because I'm the president of the State Association, I don't post a lot on Facebook too much, unless it's realtor oriented. I don't post a lot of personal. I do that on Instagram. So I have some realtors following me on Instagram, but it's mostly also clients too, and things that I want to share with clients and friends. So know where you're going to post certain things. Take a breath. I use draft format. I use Gmail, and you could save so particularly in emails, somebody will email me and I will have a knee-jerk reaction and I'll be like, but I won't send that. I'll let it sit in the draft, and I'll let it kind of percolate. They make fun of me because I have informed my leadership team I'm a muller. I like to mull over things before I decide. So it's a good way to sort of incorporate in your business decisions. You know, there are many things you don't have to decide right away. And I would say if you're going to respond to something that's very sort of, you know, critical or sensitive, that you compose a thought and then you mull over it a bit. And then ultimately ask, will this post help or hurt my business, my reputation, my business, or the greater good? Greater good of the real estate industry. Okay, this one just was last week. I included it because I just, again, I missed the first two rants. So this is his third rant. This is a downstate Long Island realtor. Dear real estate friends, if you get to a home where you have an appointment, people are waiting for you, and your buyer isn't interested, once they see the home, please go to the front door and let the seller know. Do not drive by and leave, then cancel the appointment. It not only makes us as realtors look bad, but our industry, that manager is being contacted. Okay, a couple of thoughts here. How do you feel about this? What's the point of this? And actually, by the way, he got, you know, this was probably early on, the first day, but he got some responses. I should have pulled up how many had the angry face and how many had the love. You know, they love that post, or maybe they just love the idea of it. And then he had 20 comments. So a couple of things here. You know, every area is different. We're going to talk a couple of slides in about that, how you handle showings. Personally, I don't get offended if somebody doesn't end up showing it. It's not great, but I've had people have an appointment, not show it, and not even tell the seller. In this case, the seller was home. Most of the time we ask the sellers not to be home, so it's often not a problem, but there is the whole prepping stage of the house. It's annoying to prep your house for a showing